Hello YouTube and welcome back. Fluffhammer here. This is part 2 of the Custodes. As you can see, I've gone ahead on the base and put down some of the Citadel texture paint. This is the Martian Iron Earth. I've done that overnight purely because obviously it's a kind of couple of hour drying time, so I didn't want to kind of just leave that stop me getting on today. So I've done that and let it dry overnight. And now we're going to get into some details. So breaking out some of, I think it's lead belcher, and then we're going to go around the model and pick out the kind of inside of the armour joins where you get the like gratings in between the elbows and the knees, and also piping and any silver metallics on the gun, and also the armour blade, and also the main face of the model. So I'm going to get on with all that now and run around that while you're watching, and then I'll catch you in a minute for the next bit. Cheers. Okay, so here we are back again, into the Element Games Regiment brush and some Nuln oil. Obviously, Nuln oil is the best way to shade metallics, always has been, always will be. And now it's basically time to get into a few more details. I'm going to go with red next. Going to go on to the hair details, shoulder pad, and then any other kind of loincloths. They've got these weird kind of hand gauntlet leather strap things. I'm basically just going on the box art. They've got a really dark red, so I'm gonna start with corn red. Fantastic colour for a base, really good coverage. As you can see, even a thinned coat is still just one coat over gold. You might be different if you're trying to cover different colours, but the corn red goes fantastic straight over this gold, so I'm just going to go one coat. I'm going to crack on with all of that, and then we're going to shade and highlight, but I'll tell you that bit as we get along. I'll let you watch, and I'll catch you in a minute. Cheers. Okay, so next up, to shade the red areas, we're going to go with a Nuln oil and Larmian medium mix. I'm going to do 2 parts Nuln to 1 part Larmian medium, and then a shade of Caraborg crimson, again 50-50 this time with Larmian medium over top. So I've done the shade, now that's dry. We're going to go in with a Mephiston red. This is going to be a dry brush stage, and I'm not going to use the dry brush on the leather or the armour because I want a smooth finish with them, but the hair definitely is suited to dry brush, especially the new kind of GW models. The hair is fantastic, you know, for dry brushing. It's purpose built. I've been around hair before and just spent hours edge highlighting, getting attacked by the cat at the same time. But yeah, with the edge, as you can see the cat's tail just hitting the camera, sorry about that. Edge highlight is great, but straight over hair, it takes an awful lot longer, and it just doesn't look any better than if you were to just dry brush it. Like, as long as you dry brush to a good kind of level, keep it forward and backward, keep it light, and just build it up, build it up, build it up. It will be smooth. It will be kind of, you'll get a good gradient on it. And like I said, especially with the newer sculpts, not as much with the older ones, but with these newer sculpts, the hair's purpose built for just wash and dry brush, so it looks just as good, if not better, than if you spent hours edge highlighting it. And then what I'm also doing is going straight into Wild Rider Red, but if you notice, I haven't washed my brush out. So this will retain a little bit of the Mephiston red, and that gives it good coverage, but also keeps, it'll tint the Wild Rider red with the Mephiston. So that actually is how you blend with dry brushing, rather than just going, say, like black, grey, white. You blend in the brush as well. Those bristles, as they're going, they're just adding a little bit more every time of the lighter colour. So you're blending through rather than just getting like a solid gradient, and that just helps it stay smoother. It takes a little bit longer because you'll need a few extra layers, but it's well worth it when you see the end result. So yeah, I'm going to crack on with that, and then I'm going to crack on some wet blending on the Armour. I'll catch you guys in a minute. So now we're going into a bit of a wet blending. We've got Mephiston red here, using the new wet palette I just got yesterday. Absolutely love it. Actually really surprised. You know, I didn't think I would get on with it as well as I am. I'm really enjoying it. It keeps your paint wet for ages, and I know a lot of people just say not to waste your money on it, but honestly, for like, I think it was £11 on Amazon, absolutely blown away. And it saves you that in paint easily, because you're just not wasting your time getting, you know, fresh paint out every now and then, especially on this model, when I kind of flick forward and backwards as I pick up different bits. It's really good because your paint stays wet for the whole time, so you're flipping forward and backwards, doing layers, letting something dry, go with something else, and then your paint is still wet when you go back to it. So yeah, really impressed with the wet palette. The red here, I'm basically just doing some fine edge highlighting on the red leather, and again just building up. I've just done it, it's quite watered down, it's probably 60% water, 40% paint, and I'm just blending up that shoulder pad. And here we go again, just adding a little bit of Wild Rider red and just dragging the Mephiston red into it just to blend again, and then I'm just literally going to add another layer down here, and this is wet blending really, just picking a light source. This is obviously light from above, and then just fading it down as I go, washing it out. Just got a bit of pure water there, and I'm just feathering it out at the edges just to get that really smooth dark to light. As you can see, it's getting a really good effect now. I'm going to go back in and just make sure that the back matches the front. So now I've grabbed the Army Painter detail brush, and I'm just going to edge highlight around this. There is no kind of hard edge as such, so I'm basically going to go on the inside of the line, so you want to leave a tiny little bit of the red around the outside, and then yeah, just cut a line as you can see like that. And basically I'm going to follow that round the entire shoulder pad. I'm also going to do these tiny little fine lines on the gloves on the highest high points, and also then I'm going to get a little bit of Purity White from scale 75, and I'm going to mix that in on the wet palette as well and use that for the next highlight. So yeah, I'm going to crack on with that, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the edge highlights now. Just going to kind of follow up with the next stages. We need to crack on with some Abaddon Black. We need to do the base rim. We need to get, I've already kind of skipped ahead and done the bolt gun on the end of his staff. And then yeah, just the little tags and leather straps I've gone ahead and done. And then some speed metal, which we're going to be using to do edge highlights, and just some little flicks on the blade, and also just the little latches. And then we've got some rust grey for the rope. We're going to do a white, like kind of bluey effect white rope, and also use the rust grey to highlight all the black parts as well. So as you can see on the bolt there, on the rope around his waist, we've used the wet palette there, and we've used rust grey and just blended it through maybe 3 or 4 different layers through to the scale 75 Purity White. Really great effect on the rope there, and I've basically copied the exact same effect on the edge highlighting for all the black areas, so the bolter and then the little leather straps around his wrists, everything like that. The exact same kind of blend, rust grey through to Purity White. And yeah, we're getting really close to the end of the model now. So there I was, just picking up some highlights with the scale 75 again. Now we're going to go back into the Ushabti Bone from Games Workshop, and literally this is going to be a dry brush for the base. Again, just using a flat edge dry brush, Dalarowny. I think I picked these up from Hobbycraft. It's just a light dry brush. I think I do like a first stage, and it's a little bit too light for my liking, so I have gone back in again straight afterwards again and just added a little bit extra paint. Here we go, just to add a little bit more definition to it. The Martian Iron Earth is a nice red colour, and I didn't want to go too far away from it. I didn't want it too beigey, but obviously this gives a nice dusty effect on the edges, and especially on like the high points. It's nice to have a highlight. I was tempted to maybe wash this with a Reichland Flesh Shade, something like that, but I like the kind of patchy Mars Earth look to it, and I didn't want to add too much shades and stuff. I just like it a little bit more plain. So yeah, just cracking on with that now and getting that done. Okay, next up we are doing Citadel Base Calidor Sky, and this is going to be for these little gemstones. You can see we're using an Element Games character brush. Really big fan of the Element Games brush, as you probably guessed if you've watched my videos. It's pretty much all I use. And yeah, just going to pick up these gemstones, and then we're gonna go ahead and highlight them. I'll catch you getting them in. So that's done. We are next on to Sky Blue from Vallejo. Big fan of Vallejo colours as well. Most of the stuff they do is really good. Just going to crack in with this and just do little dots really. These gemstones are so small. You could spend hours and hours really doing like little lines and dot highlights to them, but they're so tiny. Just a dot highlight will do the same effect for 90% of people, unless you're intending on painting it for heavy metal, you know, like a contest, something like that. If you're trying to win a Slayer sword, then you're probably going to want to do 3 or 4 layers on these little gemstones, but for us, they're so tiny, just a little dot will do. Picking out the eyes as well. I did do the eyes with the Calidor Sky Blue, and then yeah, like Sky Blue, just dabbing on top. So here we have the Army Painter Winter Tufts. They look really good. I'm a massive fan of these as well. I know this isn't really a winter scene, but it's just how they're kind of dark, gritty, and almost like dead grass. You can imagine if there was any vegetation on kind of Mars or on this Martian iron Earth, it would be kind of, you know, starving of water and dry and dark. So yeah, that just added really well. I think that really adds a nice finish to the model as well, just adds a bit more texture to the base. As you can see, that is now our Custodian Guard finished. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, put it in the comments below. If there's any tutorials you'd like to see me do, put it in the comments below. Please subscribe, that would really help me out. And I'll also leave a link to Element Games, where you can get 10 to 15% off your own Custodes. So thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye bye.